Jimmy Butler out for the foreseeable future, will not be playing tonight for the Miami Heat as they are a 1.5-point favorite against the Chicago Bulls.
We saw Miami almost pull it off when Jimmy Butler wasn't even moving in that game against Philadelphia. The way they can scheme up a defense, how good they are in terms of their game plan, how well coached they are. Not that Willie Green's not a really good coach. It's just that we've seen Eric Spoelstra do this before. And Miami is used to doing this. Most used starting lineups in the NBA this season because it's just been guys in and out all season long. Jimmy Butler amongst them. So it's not like Jimmy Butler was out there playing 72 games and you got to figure out what to do without him. This has been something that the Heat are used to at this point of the season. And, of course, I think when you're talking about evaluating your opponent, of the 4 remaining play-in teams, Chicago Bulls power rated the lowest amongst them. So I think when you put all of that together, it's really clearly the answer would be Miami being able to overcome this.
Big injury news to keep an eye on for that Bulls-Heat game is the status of Alex Caruso. It was reported that it was a significant left ankle sprain after colliding with Andre Drummond. However, last night, Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN said after further evaluation, reduced swelling around Alex Caruso's left ankle has increased optimism on his chances to play versus the Heat. His availability likely a game-time decision. We talk about it all the time. It's not, breaking the atom, but you think about the performances that we saw in the play-in tournament. Let's start with the Chicago Bulls and Kobe White and the performance of a lifetime, which is kind of hilarious because technically that game is now like in limbo land and never existed. Right. But 42 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, no turnovers. Is that sustainable? Do we see regression for Kobe White? Do we anticipate him to just become the play-in monster and continue to drop 40 a game?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clearly that Kobe White's going to come back down, especially when you're talking about the opponent.
Yeah, 42, 9, and 6. Come on, baby.
Well, I mean, just factor in who you're facing, right? This Miami Heat team with their amorphous zone defense that doesn't really have a true and defined shape. When you look at them at any single possession, you go from like, hey, okay, all right, full court press, we're going to shift into like a 1-2-2. It's going to go into a 2-3. We're going to shift to a 3-2. Like, there was no real shape. There was no real solid definition of what kind of zone they were running. It was incredible what they were able to do against Philly. And, of course, we know the rate of turnovers, right? Philly in the first half turned it over on nearly a third of their possessions. They evened out in the second half because Nick Batum turned into Michael Jordan. But, the ability to defend, the ability to throw out a unique zone defense that the Chicago Bulls are not going to be used to facing. Philly had faced that zone defense like a week prior, and they still had nothing in that play-in game at home. So I think it's very clearly in that regard there